All right, let's turn our attention to the NFC Divisional round. I'm John Herrick, and now we'll start with the Seahawks and the Bears. Hey, the Seahawks could be a 500 football team at the end of this week. You never know. Cannot believe the Seahawks knocked off the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. That is, at home in Seattle. I don't think it would have been the same story if the game was in New Orleans, but that's a whole nother debate for a whole nother time. The Seahawks. By the way, every divisional game this weekend is a matchup of a previous meeting, is a rematch. Jets and Patriots have played each other twice. Ravens and Steelers have played each other twice already. The Seahawks played the Bears earlier this year, beat them by 23-20, and Green Bay played Atlanta, and Atlanta won that game 20-17. So every divisional game this weekend is a rematch. So let's start with the Bears and the Seahawks, and I'm going to start with the Seahawks first, their key to the game. The first key to the game, if they're going to win this one and go to 9-9 and go to the NFC Championship game, which is hard to believe, the first thing you need to do is get in Jay Cutler's face. Get in Jay Cutler's face. People are kind of forgetting that this is Jay Cutler's first ever playoff game. He never made the playoffs with Denver, didn't make the playoffs in his disastrous first year with the Bears where he threw countless interceptions. And so this is now the first time he's been in a playoff game. Luckily for him, it's at home. But the Seahawks did a good job of getting pressure against him in the first meeting. He was 17 of 39, under 50% completion percentage for 290 yards. Did not throw a touchdown in the loss, against Seattle. So the Seahawks need to get up the field and get pressure on him early on and often as much as possible because he has struggled mightily. Use Aaron Curry, used Jordan Babineau, use Trufant, use those guys to kind of bring some pressure and really try to rattle him. He'll start throwing off of his back foot and be very uncomfortable, and we've seen the way he is when he's uncomfortable. Not a very good quarterback. The next thing the Seahawks need to do is cause another seismic reading. I don't know if you heard about this, but last week's Marshawn Lynch's ridiculous run, which helps 67-yard touchdown run, which helped seal the victory for Seattle, actually registered on a seismic meter. Geologists picked it up. It actually got seismic readings. It caused apparently a mini earthquake. The ground actually shook when he ran. Now, it wasn't all due to him. It was also due to some of the crowd noise, but it actually got a little bit of a reading on a seismic meter. How about that? So they need to cause another one of those. How about that? Run the football. Use Marshawn Lynch. Their running game has been rejuvenated the last couple of games. And if Marshawn Lynch can continue to run the football the way he's been running it the last couple of times, I think that they can help win this game. This game's going to be cold. It's going to be very cold. The weather's not going to be very favorable for either team, and it's probably going to come down to whoever runs the football. Snow showers are a possibility. So you got to run the football well in a game like this, and I think Marshawn Lynch is going to have to be able to do that if he's going to give Seattle a chance to win this football game. Also, don't be afraid to use Justin Forsett in there as well if you are the Seahawks. But they're going to need to run the football, no doubt about it, to control the line of scrimmage. And the next thing you got to do if you're the Seahawks is neutralize Julius Peppers. Julius Peppers has been a huge beast for the Bears on their defensive front. I mean, just the way he harassed so many, he did a great job on Michael Vick in that win earlier this year against the Philadelphia Eagles. He's been fantastic. He's been in the backfield so much this year. He's proven so far to be every bit worth that contract. So you're going to have to neutralize him and make sure you keep Matt Hasselbeck upright, because if he gets to Matt Hasselbeck and knocks him out of the game, you're going to have some serious problems. You've got to be able to neutralize him if you are the Seattle Seahawks, because he's been so dynamic and he's been so tough to defend this year. It looks like he's been totally rejuvenated ever since he's come over from Carolina. Amazing what a new situation will do for you. If you are the Bears, key to victory. First one, get Matt Forte involved on the ground. Now, I know Mike Martz loves to throw the ball around. He's tried to get Matt Forte involved in the passing game. But whenever the Bears have had 20 or more carries this year, they have been a much better football team, and I think they've won every game where they've had over 20 carries. So you got to run the football. You got to be a running team, and plus, you've got to take all the pressure in the world you can off Jay Cutler, because if he's uncomfortable and he gets in modes where he has to throw the ball, and he'll throw it into double coverage if he's not comfortable, that will cause a nightmare. If you are the Chicago Bears, you've got to take pressure off him with Matt Forte. You got to run right up the middle. get some leverage in the running game, and you will be able to sustain those drives and make things go for your offense. You're going to need to take the pressure off Jay Cutler one way or another. Julius Peppers, you got to earn that money. You were paid $91.5 million at the start of the year, and if you are going to earn that money, you've got to do something in this game. In the last meeting, why do I say that? Because in the last meeting between the Seattle Seahawks, where the Seahawks won 23-20, Julius Peppers had 0 sacks, 0 quarterback pressures, did not do anything. If he is going to help, if the Bears are going to win this game, he is going to have to get pressure on Matt Hasselbeck. It's that simple. No quarterback pressures, no sacks. That cannot happen in this game where the Bears defense is going to be in trouble. A lot of it's going to start up front with him. If he doesn't get anything going up there in his pass rush, it's going to allow Matt Hasselbeck to have too much time. Hey, the Saints gave Matt Hasselbeck too much time last week. How'd that work out for them? All right, the third and final thing that they have to do, Jay Cutler, you got to know the colors of your jerseys, all right? You can't have another multiple interception game. That was very disturbing for me to see going into the playoffs last week of the season. The Bears were playing the Green Bay Packers, and I saw Jay Cutler overthrow some people, throw some passes that were too high and, way out of reach for people. That cannot happen if the Bears are going to win this game. He cannot have a multiple interception game. If he does, the Bears' chances of winning this game goes way, way down. And look, the Seahawks, I tell you what, they seem to be a different team over these last few weeks. They've found a way to make a lot more plays in the passing game. Their running game has all of a sudden come to life. And I think Matt Hasselbeck's the key. If he gets knocked out of the game, though, and Charlie Whitehurst has to come in, which is a very good possibility of him not lasting the whole game, that's going to cause a big problem. Now, we didn't know how long Matt Hasselbeck was going to play in the game last week. Pete Carroll was very ambiguous about it, but he eventually played the whole game, and it's a good thing he did because he has been a fantastic postseason quarterback for the Seahawks. So, prediction time. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks to win this game, mostly because I think I think they learned from their mistakes last time. I don't think Devin Hester is going to get another punt return for a touchdown. I don't think that. Jay Cutler in his first ever playoff game, it's going to be a lot faster for him. I don't trust him. I trust it's about the quarterback. It's not about the records. I trust Matt Hasselbeck a lot more than I trust Jay Cutler. I just do. And I think the Bears will fall to the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are going to win this game 21-10 over the Bears. I just think the Seahawks, I trust them more. I just trust right now they're playing better football. I don't like the way the Bears entered the playoffs. The Bears only beat 2 teams on their schedule down the stretch after that loss to the Seahawks, that were on the playoff schedule. The Philadelphia Eagles, who are clearly a little bit overrated. I mean, their defense wasn't very good. And then you look at their win just recently over Minnesota. A lot of those wins were not that impressive down the stretch. They should have lost to Detroit. They had a lot of losses that probably should have happened for them. I'm going to go with Seattle. I'm not quite. I haven't been sold on the Bears all year, to be honest. I think Seattle wins it 21-10.